You are the donkey of the day. You are the donkey of
Welcome back, everybody, to We're Just Talking podcast. Mariel's on the other line. How you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. Welcome everybody. I apologize in advance if you hear some background noise from my end, but
It's just
excited to
the
do this episode.
it's just the rats in New York City going through the
they,
walls.
they got a mind of their own, you know?
Yeah. So how's your week been since the last we spoke? Let's get
Pretty
into
good,
it.
man. It's we had a borderline heat wave in New York this past weekend, so
Whoa.
that wasn't fun. Northeast we have humidity, so that's I think that's really the X factor. So
Yeah,
that sucked. But I had to put up my AC, so that was nice.
that's
Uh,
good. That's always good
yeah.
to have your noise machine. And you know what? While we're talking about this, I think it'd be a funny thing to talk about. I we So my first time going to New York City, I had spent time. I went with Mariel's around Thanksgiving break, and I am grateful Mariel provided a space for me to stay because you know how expensive it can be in New York City.
Yes, sir.
But I went with our other fraternity brother Sammy, so it was us going along with him, and this is my first experience going to New York City, and and so we get there and we actually end up getting dropped off in the Bronx because our ride, which was actually Lindsay, wasn't going to take us any further. So first experience there with our duffel bags, we get dropped off in the Bronx, and
Yeah.
Mario lives in Brooklyn, so we got to ride all the way to Brooklyn on the train,
Mm.
which that was fun. I was still like, whoa, like first time being in New York City and stuff. And one thing I didn't get the hang of was y'all walking so fast. That I couldn't do. I remember like I already felt I hadn't exercised a while. I already felt like the shin splints coming on.
The shin
We're
splints.
we're carrying these. I mean, my duffel bag's packed. I know Sammy's backed. Knowing him, he brought everything from
Right.
the house, probably a microwave with him too. And Mariel's walking like nothing. He don't got nothing with him, I don't think. He's walking in a full
Somehow,
suit.
somehow I
Yeah.
didn't have a bag.
Somehow he's walking with his little loafers and he's just chilling with his bubble coat that for some reason all New Yorkers have.
Yeah.
And so we get from the Bronx to Brooklyn, and I think it was funny because we got on the train, and I
That's
remember
where I
being,
that's where I taught you to not look at people.
yeah, I think that's. I mean, I knowing me, I've already had a thing about look. Here's the thing. I think I not too long ago, I had this thing where people would like try to look at me, or I'll try. Yeah, basically, if anybody tried to make like eye contact, like I would look away because I
Yeah.
didn't want to be confrontational or anything. But then I realized that that was like a sign of weakness, and I think it was talking to Adam actually because Adam has all these things about being weak. If you think I'm bad, Adam's the worst.
Yeah. Wow.
My brother Adam, in terms of being like alpha male and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so then I started conditioning myself to like, if people looked at me, like I was gonna look right back at them, and I wasn't gonna try to. So I wasn't gonna try to look away,
Yeah.
because
Hey, in New York, not looking is a sign. It would actually be considered self-defense. So,
yeah, well, yeah. So here it was like I'm not gonna back down. So I was getting the habit of like people looked at me, I'll look at them right back. But
yeah.
that's not something. Yeah, that's not something you want to do on the New York City Metro. And I thought it was funny because I think that was when some people started getting into it, and everybody's just like looking, everybody's minding their own business, like nothing's going on. And I was just thought it was like the weirdest thing, like these guys are about to fight or something, and everybody's just like, don't pay them any attention. And then I
Yeah.
realized like it's just like a lot of talk, but no one backs down in New York.
It's one of those things where it's, of course, with the first time I'm hosting some friends that are from
Yeah,
out of the city, and we're on the train together. Of course, something's popping off, and something's going on. So like you're trying to like look at your guests, and you're like, this doesn't happen often. It's like, oh, this is the first.
yeah, yeah. No, Mario was just like, don't look,
Don't look.
and I just thought that was crazy. And then I thought it was funny because I was like, well, when are we gonna get off? Because it's just like stop after stop after stop. And then I realized, oh, we're getting off on the last stop.
Yeah.
We were like
Well,
one of the
hey,
last few stops to get off in Brooklyn. And I thought that was funny too.
people
Um,
think New York is a consolidated city, but your
it's,
commute could take you a while.
yeah, and then I realized like it's kind of big, like y'all's everything going around, it's large. It takes a
Yeah.
while. And so I mean, I thought that was funny because we were just riding and riding and riding this train, and it felt like that episode of SpongeBob. I feel like a lot of people might relate, people older generations of when they are going to like this theme park, the Glove theme park, and they missed the stop and they ended up like going past into like the bottom of the
And he
Bikini
had to get
Bottom.
the last. He was like, "Oh, where's the next bus to the Bikini Bottom?" Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, exactly. That's what it felt like. I was like, where am I? I'm on the last stop of Bikini Bottom. And
yeah.
no, but it was cool. It was fun. And it's my first time, experiencing going and being actually like in the city. Mario, of course, saying like if people are walking on one side of the street, we're gonna walk on the other side of the street.
Right, right.
And then so we get to Mariel's place, and the reason this is where it's sort of going to tie in now when Mariel's talking about turning the air conditioner on, because he has staying in his room, and I was set on this like I don't know I forget what they're called,
Futon.
like a futon. There you go, like a futon. And I think Sammy's with Mariel, and it's hot. It was hot in there. And you wouldn't think it would be that hot, and it's because we were there in the wintertime, or
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, so close to wintertime. But it was so cold outside, but for some reason it was so hot in there.
Mhm.
And I remember we had this air conditioning going on, and it just sounds like someone put a bunch of screws in a washer, and it's just banging around everywhere in there. And I go, I'm like, this air conditioner, this AC doesn't even work.
You put your
There's
hand,
no,
we I think Sammy or you just like tried to test it and like stood in front of it and you were
yeah.
like, wait a second.
Wait a minute. There's no air coming out of this thing. And that's when I realized that Mariel just had a noise machine in his room, just to create that ambient noise you need to go to sleep.
Just to create
And
the white noise.
it was just to create the illusion. It was one of those things like if you heard it, you thought you were getting AC, but there was nothing going on in there.
I remember it was like we closed our eyes for like 20 minutes and he just looks up on the futon. Wait a second, that's just a noise machine.
Yeah. And I mean, that was ended up being a fun night.
Yeah.
Obviously it was funny, and but I just think that's funny because you're talking about, does this AC machine work? They have wall units, but I guess that's that's something because you guys are in New York City, right? So I
Yeah.
feel like it would be a little bit like everybody
Window
here is
units are
different.
definitely still very prevalent here, but yeah, I have a new window unit this time.
Mhm.
I got it from Facebook Marketplace, so that was a
Oh,
little sus. But
wait a second. So you have to buy your own air units whenever you go to apartments and stuff?
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm actually subletting in this place now,
Mhm.
so that's why it just didn't come with one. But yeah, I mean, usually unless there's a wall unit or like
Yeah.
the one you're mentioning, it newer apartments would have that.
Well, I
But
feel like actually, I mean, obviously because New York City is such an old city,
yeah,
and y'all guys have been like from the get go, it's been apartment style living,
right,
and I mean, like it's such a big, it's buildings everywhere, so obviously they're not updating every single building to be,
right,
with central air and stuff like that.
right.
But I remember watching a show. There's this show called not Two Broke Girls. What am I talking about? There's this show. I can't even think of the name right now. Oh, Broad City. Have you seen the show Broad City? It's about
No.
these two girls that is set in New York City, and there's one episode where they didn't have. I guess it was getting hot in New York City, and like everywhere in New York City, it was like it looked like it was a thing, and it's supposed to be like the show's supposed to be like based off like real things that happen in New York City, and the way like the show depicted was like no one had like air conditioning at all in the city, and I think
Was
they
it?
were in
What
Brooklyn.
is it? Did it take place in the 90s or like is this a newer show?
No, this is like, I mean, this is like maybe 2015,
Oh, okay.
so it's still like kind of modern, but like it's just the fact that they were trying to like their apartments. Obviously, they weren't like in the best, modern apartment
Right, right.
out there, but like just like their apartment was decent, but they didn't have any air condition, and or it was broken, and they would go somewhere else, and it was like broken, and like, and then they're
Drinking
talking like
stuff.
they're
Yeah.
just sweating everywhere, and I
Yeah.
just thought it was funny. Um,
That's when you have to like you're walking around doing errands and you just walk into supermarkets randomly just to get
yeah,
the
just to get
fresh
the air
air, the breeze.
conditioning. Yeah, I think that's funny. And y'all guys are around the river, so obviously it'd be humid, or not river, uh y'all on some type of
Ocean.
body of water,
Yeah,
ocean.
it's super humid. You know what it is? There's actually a thing in New York where you can actually see people like in the hottest summer days,
Mhm.
and there are people sitting outside, like families and parents sitting outside of their home.
Yeah.
And it's like known now, like, oh, those people don't have AC. Like that's where
Oh, because they're
because
sitting on the front
it's
porch.
worse indoors than outdoors. That's why they're out here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's funny. I know that here you'll see people sitting out, like sitting outside. My dad used to tell me, like in Mexico, like that's a thing they would do, is just like sleeping outside.
Sleeping
Um,
outside.
yeah, like
Wow.
he remembers being a child or being a kid and going back to Mexico with his parents, my grandparents, and
Yeah.
visiting and stuff, and being there with family members, and like they would just all like if they're outside talking, or like people would just like sleep outside in their front porch or something.
Oh wow.
And I remember seeing that a few times here around Dallas. I mean, in the Dallas, right? And seeing sometimes families doing that where they're like camped out in front to
Oh
sleep.
no.
And I was just like, it's crazy. Where do you think you're at? But yeah, that seems like it's a thing, right? For people. And I was like, oh, they must not have AC, but that's like a thing. That's like a thing, is just to sleep
Wow.
outside your front porch. But I was like, people
Well,
be
no, I'll tell you something. No one's doing that in New York, all right?
well, listen, when I went to, I think, well, actually, you know what? That was the first time being in New York, like officially, like me being there. I
Yeah.
had been there prior only for a little amount of time, and I had saw people out there sitting in the front porch.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are these people doing? Just sitting out there doing nothing. It was like way past midnight, but maybe that is a thing you guys do out there. And I think it also depends, right? New York is so diverse with it. It's like in terms of like wherever you're at, you can be in a totally different place a few
Oh
blocks
yeah.
down the road.
No, for sure, man. I live in a, I mean, every neighborhood is gonna have this kind of like little concentration. Like where I'm at now is like a very heavy Greek and Polish
Yeah.
population. So you'll it's like totally different for that reason.
Well, that's pretty cool though, right? You experience all that stuff, all
Yeah.
the Greek and Polish food.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, that's cool. Y'all guys had that little summer heat wave, right? Because it's always so up and down with the weather over there. In terms of
Not cool. I would prefer to not be that high.
are you guys not, are you not ready for summer?
No, no, not at all. I think I think it'll get cooler and then probably go back up. But no, I hope
Yeah.
it doesn't stay like that. But we all know
Uh,
that's where the world is heading now. So
yeah.
unfortunately,
Well, I we talked about in the last podcast that it was raining, and it's still been raining this whole week, and today is raining, and I just think that's crazy. Texas, we kind of go through like a little weird, where like there was a drought. I remember there being like a drought for the longest time in Texas, and
yeah.
then all of a sudden like there was like this big rain, and then last year it was dry. I don't think I remember seeing any rain here, and all of a sudden this year it's
The
just
whole year.
yeah, which is,
Wow.
I know that's like a weird thing, but yeah, I don't remember like there being rain at all. And then this year it's just been raining like crazy. And I think it's funny because where I'm at, like I hadn't cut the grass or anything, right? We have lawns. And I know you probably don't have to worry about that in New York City, but we have
Nope.
like front lawns and back lawns here. And this is not even like the good grass. This is like the grass you kind of want to get rid of. But I just hadn't cut it. The past 2 times I've been trying to cut the grass, like I have really bad allergies that like the moment that I cut the grass,
Yeah.
the whatever they're releasing, I'm getting, and my body is not liking. It automatically puts me in an allergy coma where I'm just like sick, and like and it's like I'm normal during the day, right? So I can cut the grass, mow the lawn and stuff, and I'll be fine. And I've been trying to wear masks too, right, to try to block some of that stuff out.
Right.
And I'm like, oh wow, I'm fine, I'm okay. And then as soon as it hits like 8 o'clock, boom, all of a sudden my nose is clogged up. I can't breathe, I'm wheezing, and
Mm.
and it's bad. And so it's kind of hard for me to like want to go cut the grass.
We gotta go send Adam to do that thing, or
I know.
Psycho
Well,
John.
I know, right? Well, it just got bad, and so uh grass got tall, like up. I don't even know. I can't even give you an accurate measurement, but I want to say like it at least went to my thigh level in terms of like
Wow. Those are
yeah,
weeds. That's like
yeah.
a
These were like weeds. Like this was like prairie, past prairies, like savanna, like lions, like in the grass. That's
yeah,
what it
or
was
like
like. I didn't want.
cornfields.
Yeah, I did not want to walk through it. I did not trust it, and
No.
so we actually got somebody to come out today, and to come cut the grass.
Oh, that's good.
And well, they were able to get a little bit of it, but then it started raining. And that was the thing
Uh,
too, is like they were supposed to come. They were supposed to come at 2 o'clock,
mm,
and I was like, oh, it was supposed to rain, so maybe they'll have to reschedule. And my job, it starts pretty early in the morning, but we have like these stand-up meetings every morning. And I guess I can, for people who don't know, I'm in software engineering,
mm,
and so every morning we have like these team meetings where we have to go
mm.
and like basically talk about what we did yesterday, what we're
Wow.
doing today, and what we're gonna, if we have any problems and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And each person, and for some reason I don't know why, being with these people, with these other developers and other engineers, is like it's always like brand new. Like everybody forgets what happened yesterday, and like they go in and they're like, "Can you click on that thing again so I can see what it was I was doing?" I was like, "Shouldn't you know what you're doing? Why do you need someone to come
Oh
show it to
yeah.
you what you're doing?" That just shows that you weren't doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Um, and I just think it's funny how every single day somebody has like they're out for an appointment. It's like, how many of you guys are having these many appointments a week?
Mhm.
But anyways, I so I was getting nervous because this person, I hear this like cutting, and I'm like, what is that? And I look out the window and there's just someone cutting the grass on the front yard, and I'm saying, wait a second, what is this? What, maybe they got the wrong house, and they're like, this must be the guy. Didn't ring the doorbell, didn't say, hey, I'm here to help. Just
Yeah.
started cutting the grass. Then I got the knock. Well, I'm getting nervous because it's gonna get close to my turn to talk, and I don't want to like interrupt my meeting to go talk to this guy. I'm getting nervous that this guy's gonna knock on the door. But then he just left. It started raining, I guess, and he just left.
Wow. I
And
didn't
he
even
just sent an
finish.
email, said like he couldn't cut the finish the rest because of the rain.
Wow.
But I didn't pay him or anything. He didn't get paid, so he just cut. He
he'll
cut the.
he'll be back. He'll be back for
Yeah, he'll
sure.
be back. He cut a big chunk of it though.
You
Um,
you mentioned you mentioned he didn't ring the doorbell, and I meant to ask you. So in college, Isai became in his household became
yeah,
a ring doorbell member, and so
yeah,
in Isai we what was it, like he used to have a big chime sound because
yeah. And
and he
for
synced it.
anybody who's a ring owner knows exactly the sound that he's talking about, and
Yeah,
it's
so
hard to
it's
describe.
so we went to school in Pennsylvania and his household is in Dallas in Texas. And he synced his ring doorbell sound to his phone and PA. So whenever we would hang out and we would hear the chime, Isai would say, and I quote, "Who's that in front of my house?"
Well, I remember when it first happened, my dad told me about this, and like
Mhm.
being back, I mean, maybe it's more prevalent now for people to have like these, video doorbells,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I feel like it wasn't a thing a few years ago. And my dad told me about having this Ring doorbell. I was like, "What is that?" And he was like, "It's a doorbell with a video camera." And basically, he said there's an alert whenever someone goes within a certain vicinity of your, like wherever the camera is at of the
Right.
doorbell. And so yeah, so I had the information. So I would always find it funny, and I thought it was interesting because I could always see like who's in my front yard,
Yeah.
who's coming by, and obviously I was in Pennsylvania, so I wasn't going to do anything about it. But my dad would be like, "Just keep your eye out on this."
Just keep your eye
No
out.
one had their eye out before.
Right. Not
um,
everyone has a chime bell synced to their phone.
yeah, exactly. Well, I just thought it was funny because I'd be like anywhere and you just hear the ding, 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 and let me know. And so, well, obviously, yeah, I have the Ring doorbell, and so I was watching this guy when he was like out there in the front. I was watching him for a while. I have my meeting on one computer. I have my other computer over here, and I have the Ring doorbell, and I'm just watching him to see what his next move is. What's he gonna
Yeah.
do next? Is he gonna
Mm.
come to me? No, but I just saw him get in the car and leave. But yeah, and so yeah, that it's been crazy weather over here in terms of the rain, which I guess is good in a way, right? So we don't go through those little droughts, and we don't want to be like California and not have any water.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Um,
the extremes are never good.
I will say that while we're on the topic, I think that Dallas tap water is some of the best tap water ever.
Okay, well,
I'm just gonna
that
put that out
that
there.
that no one has ever said that.
I'm just gonna put that out there. I know a lot of people don't like to drink tap, but I don't. I'm not a big fan of like drinking tap of other cities because I don't trust it, and I
Mm.
don't know what y'all guys are doing with y'all's water. But for some reason, maybe it's the pipes, but Dallas water is very refreshing to me. Coming straight.
You think maybe it's the pipes? Sounds reassuring to some. Let me
Well,
tell you something. No one has. New York is known for its good water. All right,
that's not a thing.
that's a thing. I think that's a thing.
There's no way
I'm pretty
that's a
sure
thing.
that's what. Well, we're known for our bagels, and some people, when pondering why our bagels are so fantastic, some people say maybe it's the water. So
Well, maybe
there
that's
you
what's
go.
adding a little bit of flavor, but I wouldn't drink the water straight from the tap.
Flavor. Well, I still have a Brita filter because I think, kind of like you, I'm a little bit of a germaphobe. Like
Yeah,
just knowing that there's some microbes in there and stuff,
yeah,
I prefer to not have that. But yeah.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I remember one time got Fiji water, and I think either my dad, someone drunk it all, but then they refilled it with tap water. And they're because they like to make fun of me and say like all the water tastes the same, and like the Fiji water is no way better than other water.
That's not
And I
true.
was drinking it and I was like, this is such the best water ever. And I was telling them how great it
You
was.
played yourself.
And I played myself because it was just straight tap water.
Yeah.
And they still bring it up every single time now. Like they never let go. And I was like, listen, to my defense, Dallas water is pretty good. It's up there with Fiji. And so
That reminds
you
me
just
of
have to come and try it. I'll
you
have to
being
ship it to
picky.
you.
You being picky with water. No, please don't ship me Dallas water. The only sus water I think that I know of is California water. Like that's just different.
That's sus because where are
That's
they even
different. I
getting the
hear
water
it's
from?
yellow. So yeah, exactly. Whereas it never rains. How long has this water been stored there? I just
Yeah,
don't really trust it. But you saying the thing about replacing the Fiji water with tap water reminded me of um my dad. He has a preference for a cooking oil
yeah,
that my family uses. And so he used to tell my mom, "Oh, you shouldn't get this brand of oil anymore because it causes me health issues."
yeah.
And then she didn't believe it. She thought it was BS. So then she said, "Oh, okay, sure, sure." And then she would just refill the
Oh
gallon,
yeah,
the gallon of the brand he likes with the actual brand that she prefers. And
that's
then
funny.
now she'll ask him like, "Is that okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's perfect."
Yeah, and little does he know that he's being bamboozled.
Yeah, little
I
does he
feel like that
know.
should be a crime.
Little
That's
does he
crazy.
know.
I feel like that. I feel like there's a crime in some states. She's
No.
basically poisoning
Ignorance is
him.
bliss, bro.
Yeah, I guess so. If you believe it's right, it's good. It's gonna be good. It's
Yeah.
exactly what they're doing with their air conditioning machines over there. They just they hear the sound, they believe it's going on. They're getting prepared.
As long as they hear this white noise
Yeah,
coming
they're
from this box.
feeling refreshed, and all they know is 2 degrees hotter in there,
Yeah.
just from the heat produced from that machine. Um, that's funny. I will say, right now, if you guys hear me, my voice sounds a little bit weird.
Mm.
I am getting over a little bit of a sickness, um, not COVID, but also not confirmed, not COVID.
Allegedly. I
I
confirm.
didn't get tested, but I also will say that I've been bedridden for these past few days. I've been sick, um, and I will say that I'm one of the worst people to get sick.
Mm.
I'm not someone who gets sick and like it's just a trooper about it. I feel like it's like life or death for me every single time. Every single time I get sick, I feel like I try to think back of times where I wasn't sick and I was breathing well and I was
You
enjoying
start
fresh air
you
and
start feeling grateful of like what you had before.
yeah, exactly, living life and because for me it's like as soon as I get sick I can't believe it. I can't believe that I'm sick and it bothers me so much.
Yeah.
Um, the only upside that I like of being I guess there's if I had to look at the silver lining for being sick, which is not good, but I will take some NyQuil to help me out because I mentioned this before. When I get sick, I don't like to be awake for it. I don't like to be present and just suffering through the sickness. If you could like
Understand.
knock me out and
Yeah.
then just let my body take care of it and then wake me up in 7 days when it's
Wow.
recovered, then I'll be fine.
7 days.
Because if not, I feel like I'm just suffering. I'm suffering regardless, and it's like
Wow, you're being a bit dramatic there. Wasn't it
I
just a
feel
cold? What was it?
this right now. I'm pretty sure it's just like it's either like a sinus infection, like an allergy infection,
Hmm.
or just like a cold. And I say it's because all my symptoms really were was just me like with like boogers and stuff, right? Like blowing my nose and stuff. But and a little bit of a cough. And I think
Yeah.
that's because when you go to sleep and you have a lot of like that drainage, and that's like a thing when you go to sleep, basically all the stuff like flows down, and
Oh
that's why.
wow, you are being very graphic here.
Yeah, I'm
You
about to put
said
like a warning.
boogers, drainage, and flows down in a minute.
Well, anyway, well that's pretty much what it was, but it's the worst thing for me, and so I'm
Yeah.
immediately um went straight for the NyQuil. Now I will say this, maybe I can get your opinion on it. I the NyQuil medicine that we had in there was not name brand NyQuil,
Mm.
right? I'm used to having the NyQuil. This is NyQuil Vicks. It's like
Yeah,
this
Vicks.
dark colored, and I get the liquid form. I don't ever get pills because the liquid hits faster. That's how much of a druggie I am.
I don't know if that's confirmed by the FDA, but
It hits
sure.
my bloodstream faster. But this stuff was like the pharmacy brand, like I think it was like CVS brand, like
Great value, yeah.
yeah, like NyQuil medicine, like NyQuil compared to like the same active ingredients in NyQuil is like this. And I was upset because I will say like I do believe name brand medicines for some reason. I think that they do work better than a medicine that is not. Now, how do you feel about that?
I
Have
could
you
see
had
that.
any?
On honestly, it depends. If I'm sick in the moment, yeah, I would probably
Yeah,
have the urgency to buy name brand every time. But if it's
yeah,
like getting some preventative stuff, like I could probably care less. But no, I could definitely see why.
yeah. Like see, it's like when I go to the store, whenever you go, like I feel like there's not much that of a difference in terms of money
Right, right.
from the name brand to the from the department
Well,
store brand.
you know what it is too. We've seen commercials of NyQuil. We have the imaging and the marketing in our head of like
I guess that's
or like Vicks, like the Vicks
yeah,
napkins for, or the tissue for your nose. We have
yeah
the
the
or
tissues.
Charmin paper towel, like we have the imaging or imagery of it in our heads, and so when we go to the store and they're like, it's like 80% the same. It's like, who's this?
Yeah, no, and my thing is that they say it's the same, but it's not the same,
Probably not.
and there's no way it's 100% the same because then it would be a complete rip off,
Right.
and like so there's something different, and obviously I feel like there was something different with this because this medicine I was taking these NyQuil, of course, at night before I was gonna go to bed, hoping because usually I take the liquid stuff and I'm out within like 10 minutes. Within 10 minutes, it's already hitting, and I'm ready to just go to bed. And this stuff, I took I was like, okay, maybe it's because it's a pill. I took it, two of the pills, and I was up for hours, hours, nothing happened. One of these nights I was up so I had took it so early. Maybe it was around like 7:30, and I was ready. I was
Oh
like, okay,
wow.
I'm gonna knock myself out early, or maybe it's
Yeah.
gonna kick in right, and I go to bed early. Um, but then it's like 10:30, then it's like midnight already. I said I can't. Nothing's helping me out. I'm feeling sick, and I can't fall asleep. So I took another two pills. So now I have basically within the 4 hours, I have four, which I think they say it's okay within every 4 hours to take another two. Most people don't do it right because the NyQuil works, but
Right.
so now I have four pills in my body going, and nothing's working. And I fell asleep, but I think because I was just so tired.
Right.
But I woke up with like I feel like the side effects from the medicine was worse than
Mm.
sometimes the sickness. It was well, it just added to it. So this has been the worst sickness because of not having name brand NyQuil, and I feel like that's what's
So
primarily
you
responsible
had
because
you had all the negatives and none of the benefits.
yeah, and look, I like to say about myself that I'm a quick healer. I feel like I heal quickly, and so usually it doesn't take me as long when it
Yeah.
comes to these things. But this week it's been a little bit hard because of this bootleg NyQuil.
This bootleg NyQuil.
It's just not working. And I have a thing about pills. I feel like a lot of things don't work on me anyways, and we might have discussed this already, but I still think that a lot of like Tylenol, like like pain relievers, allergy medicine, I feel like none of this stuff works on me. Coffee, energy drinks.
I was a big anti pain reliever person, or at least I was kind of the same mindset of I don't think that really works until I've been going to the dentist recently and I had a few big procedures and post surgery and stuff like that. Like I realize like, oh wait a second, this actually does help a lot. So
Really? Yeah, well, I try to tell myself like maybe it's helping a little bit, but I think I'm so in my head that it does not work that I just never give it a chance to work.
well, you know what it
Um,
is. The over the counter Tylenol is like 200 milligrams, and I was reading, and they were like, "Oh, well, an average adult needs like 1,200 milligrams. It's like per serving, basically." And
yeah,
I was like, "Wait a second,
yeah.
that's like five of these things." I know.
Well, I usually get like the extra strength Tylenol, which is like
Right.
500 milligrams, I think. I
Yeah.
take two of those, but I still
Okay.
never think it's enough. Which was funny. I actually now that we're talking about Tylenol, one time I had this really bad like pain in my shoulder,
Mm.
like shoulders. I think it was just like from stress, and it was just really bad, and like I couldn't sleep because it's so bad. And so I went to go check, my parents, and I went to go check like the medicine drawer to see like
Mhm.
what was going on in there. And I saw this like the orange pill bottle, and the
Yeah.
orange pill bottle. I read to see what it was, and it said like it was just like uh doctor prescribed, but it just said acetaminophen, right?
Right,
Which is, I
Tylenol.
think acetaminophen is just like Tylenol
Yeah.
or Advil or something like that. And so I was just like, oh, or ibuprofen. It was one of those things that's on there. And I
Yeah.
was just like, oh, this is just like, and it just said 500 milligrams.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, this is just like, must be some like extra strength Tylenol. It must be, but it's fine. It's the same active ingredient in Tylenol, whatever.
Right.
Um,
He got the bootleg of the bootleg.
yeah, well, it's like in the it's in the orange. So I feel like it was like the stuff that I'm not allowed to have, even though it's just in and it's in every other thing. So I just didn't. I felt like because a doctor prescribed it, you had to go and like show the doctor's prescription, like his
Yeah.
handwriting, that it was gonna be more effective.
Yeah.
Well, it did it. It helped out a lot, and I was like, wow, I was feeling good,
Hmm.
and the pain went away almost instantly, and I was surprised. I was like, wow, this is the first time I've had like Tylenol or something like that, and it just like worked.
Yeah.
And I think I had it was only half a pill, right? And I don't know where it came from. It was only half a pill in there, but when that only half pill that I had worked really well, and I told my mom about it the next day, and she had come to find out that it wasn't Tylenol, and I think she had borrowed something from my grandmother, and she just had it there in like emergency situations.
Jesus
And
Christ.
so I was feeling good on something. I don't know what it was, and I'm not going to incriminate anybody.
Yeah.
And I unknowingly took it thinking that it was a Tylenol, but it was something good. But I will
Ro-
say, I
Something
get it.
good.
I understand because it
Rook-
was it,
Rookie move.
the shoulder pain went away, and I had some of the best sleep I've ever had. So
Yeah.
I understand. I totally get it. I'm not advocating for anything, but I'm just saying. But you know, you just mentioned right now you went to the dentist. How's that? Being, I feel like that's a grown up thing. Being like going to the dentist for yourself and like
Yeah.
choosing to go to the dentist. I
It's
need to go
been
to the dentist. I called the dentist to make an appointment a few months ago, and she was like, "Yeah, the next earliest appointment date is in August," and this was like back in March. And I said, "Excuse me,
excuse me.
pardon me. I don't think I heard you right. Did you say August?" She said, "Yes, sir, August like 7th or something." It was a weird day, and I was like, I told her to put me down, and she was like, "Well, can I have your insurance information?" And I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna find. Let me call you back about that." And I just didn't call her back. And
Let me tell you something. You are not put down for August 7th.
yeah, I feel like I'm not put down, but
You-
also I couldn't believe it. I was like, August. I don't know what I'm
yeah.
gonna be doing tomorrow, and you want me to know what I'm gonna be doing in August and set it aside?
Well, you
Uh,
know, the problem with small town America is there's probably like one doctor per 500,000 residents or some shit like that. So it's
oh,
I totally get it. She has to deal with the whole village, right?
Dallas is not that small. But here's the thing. I think it's because of the whole COVID situation. I feel like doctors just weren't seeing as many people as they typically are, maybe, or because
Yeah.
the whole like waiting room situation.
Dentist has to be, imagine being a dentist during the pandemic. That's literally the worst doctor you could be when
Why?
people
Oh,
have,
because you're all in people's mouths.
yeah, you're like, oh, open wide. And then you got people, you know, blowing COVID breath in your face, talking about,
Yeah,
oh, my back tooth has a cavity. Like, ew, like,
yeah. And so I haven't been to the dentist. About how well, so I need to go.
yeah, you should go.
My yeah, my uncle, he works with dentists. I don't think he's not a dentist, but he works with with the dentist.
Yeah.
And but he works a lot in terms of like people's teeth. But like I feel like he's told stories where he has like people who have like dead teeth, or like teeth that they said they needed to go fix something. He said one lady came in and half her face was swollen
Oh, wow.
because she had some like bacterial infection like back in her tooth that she didn't fix or something. And so they
Jeez.
basically like had to like puncture a little hole and like drain all like that liquid. This is a graphic episode for everybody
We're
listening.
being very
And
graphic
like
today.
whatever whatever liquid she had in there, and like pus and like
He
just
grew
nasty
another
stuff.
face.
Huh?
He grew another face.
Yeah, it's just nasty stuff. And
Yeah.
he's having to deal with like stank mouth and like things like that on a daily.
Yeah, they're
So
like, it's there are a few courtesy things you could do before going to the dentist. First of all, you should not be eating before going to
Oh,
the dentist. And I
yeah.
don't,
There's people who love.
for me, it's common sense, but I'm sure there are people out there that have like a bacon, egg, and cheese, and that right before going to the dentist, and then they're like,
Yeah,
"Hey doc," and then they just got egg teeth and a bunch of bacon bits, and
yeah. I feel like that's like the worst thing. I feel like before going to the dentist, like I don't even eat dinner before. I like try to floss and act like I've been flossing even though I haven't,
yeah,
and
yeah,
like brushing really hard right before I get there. I
right.
have like a thing just in terms of doctors in general. Um, I'm not a big fan um of hearing them tell me what I haven't been doing right because I'm fully aware of it. Um,
You're
but
checking all the texts and boxes.
yeah,
He's like,
well,
you telling me what I'm doing wrong?
there's there is one doctor that I have to go to, and I've been going every single year, and that's just because I have to go to this doctor, and it's the eye doctor, and I have to go because if I want to have my prescription filled right for my new glasses and my new lenses, because that's one thing I don't know why I kind of care. I feel like I should care about all parts of my body,
Mhm.
but for my eyesight, I feel like I don't want my eyesight to go bad.
Well,
And
it's probably because you're starting from you're already starting from a position of weakness. So
yeah, I'm already starting from a disadvantage.
for
Um,
those of you who don't know, Isai wears glasses, so that's why I said that.
yeah, I wear glasses. I've been wearing glasses for the longest time. I want to say since I was 6 years old.
Wow.
I've been wearing glasses, and when I was younger, and they told my I remember like telling my parents my eyes hurt, and they would never listen. They didn't think I needed glasses until I think they had like one of those things at school. Back when I was in school, like they used to do that, like eye tests and like ear tests and stuff.
Yeah.
And they did an eye test, and they said that I needed glasses. And that was my mom felt bad because they didn't believe me at first. And so
Right.
I probably needed glasses before that. And I was just suffering.
He said, "My eyes hurt. I'm trying to
Yeah.
see, but I can't."
So, but I've been wearing glasses for so many years, and so, anyways, like I said, I have to go to the eye doctor to get a new prescription.
Yeah.
But I have a thing with my eyes. I have a thing with eyes in general. Um, like seeing other people's eyes if they're like watery or they're like
Hmm.
irritated, like that will make my eyes start to water. Like just talking about it right now is making my eyes water a little bit. I have a really like sent like this hyper sensitivity towards my eyes, and I don't like
Wow.
anything near them. I don't like it like water or anything like touching them. I don't do eye drops. All that
Ever.
stuff is like torture. No, I can't do anything like that. And
Do you rub
so,
your eyes a lot?
do I what?
Do you rub them?
I do rub them. Yeah.
He's
What do you love it for?
like, I don't. He's like, my eyes are precious. I don't want anything near them except my dirty fingers.
Oh well, I rub them, but I don't rub them with my fingers. I feel like it's a weird thing to do. I'll rub it with like the for people who don't know like the side of my hand, and I'll go like this,
Oh,
so
that makes a
pretty
little
much my
bit more sense.
wrist,
Yeah.
pretty much my wrist area. But I don't ever use like my fingers to go and like touch them.
Yeah.
Now I'm okay if it's me, and I'm doing something like with the side of my hand, right? Like that's not gonna bother me. It's the moment that my mind is aware that something will be going near my eyes
Yeah.
like or like my eye has to be open. If my eyelids close, I think there's no problem at all. Because there's like a shield. But
What if you get an eyelash and like you're like with Lindsay or someone, you're like, oh wait, let me get it out for you.
no, I can't. You have to take care of that yourself. You have to figure it out because I can't help you with that. I cannot see I can't touch your eye. It's gonna like make my eyes start to water. And
You
I
have to
told you this
figure
thing
it out.
before. I have this thing where like if someone's walking and I have a football in my hand, I'm gonna throw the football right at them. And so I have a thing. It's like if you're trying to put my finger close to your eye, I feel like my finger's just gonna like want to like jerk and hit you or something. And so no, I would not trust myself. Um, so I mean, obviously you can tell that going to the eye doctor is such a pain and it's a
Yeah.
struggle, and I hate it. And before when I used to go to eye doctor, it was this whole process where you'd go and they would like puff air in your eye. I guess you have 20/20 vision, so right? I assume.
Yeah.
Um,
Wait, well,
so
I thought, yeah, I do have 20/20, but I thought the eye doctor was just you sitting in that big machine and looking through the binocular thing.
no, see, because it's a whole thing. Because the eye doctor also test your like eye pressure and like to see that everything is fine and you're not suffering from you're not going to get like glaucoma, you're not getting whatever other eye diseases there are. And but back in the day, I will say not right now it's easier. Right now I actually don't have a problem going to the eye doctor, and I'll touch on it right now. But basically, before, what I would do is I go to the eye doctor. You go in there and you have to sit down in this machine, and basically you stare at like it's like 90s picture. It just looks very old of this like hot air balloon, and then they just like focus on that, and then it blows like a puff of air in your eye. And that is the struggle. And they didn't used to like me, the eye doctor, because I would go in there and like I knew what was gonna happen. It's not like my first rodeo, like it's brand new.
Yeah.
And so I knew that was gonna happen. So they were like, open your eye. I was like, I literally cannot open up my eye right now. And so my eye is just like,
will not open.
I'm looking a little special. My eyes just like this closed, and they're trying to open it up for me, and I just can't. Excuse me. And so they're trying to forcefully open up my eye, and I just cannot, and I cannot take it.
Yeah.
And so, and it's just that, and it was like other things that they would do. And excuse me, I'm gonna cough here for a second. Oh,
That reminds me, your story about knowing what's gonna happen and freaking out reminds me of so growing up I used to hate shots at the doctor. I'm not sure if it was the needle or if it was the half a second of pain that I was scared of, but I remember literally the last time growing up, it was the last time that I was scared of needles, because I literally had the most dramatic tantrum. I was like calling nurses crazy. I was like, no way, get away from me.
yeah.
And this was like during like my annual physical, and I was probably like 12. I don't know. I was like pretty old already. And I remember like making this huge scene at my physician's office. So you freaking out about the eyelid. Like when you know it's coming, you're already like you're on defense. You're already freaking out.
Exactly. And they used to be like a thing where it would actually touch your eye.
Yeah.
And so it was just the worst thing ever. And then the last stage of it is they would have to dilate your eyes. And that's the part where you're talking about, where you like looked at the little like binoculars and say like one or two, yes or no.
Yeah.
But before that, they would have to like put these series of eye drops in your eyes. And it was like a series of 3.
Yeah.
Just boom, 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 boom. And I could not do it. I can't do eye drops. It was the worst thing ever.
Wait, so you can't do, so you wouldn't do contacts for that reason as well?
No, I've never done contacts. I've never been like, yeah, I'll do contacts.
I'm gonna poke my eye today.
I could never. I don't know if I could ever do that. If anybody was like, how would you just torture me? Like that's right there, and it's like making me wear eye contact.
Puff into Esai's eye.
Yeah, it will. Like I will start freaking out. I cannot do it. But now I switched eye doctors, and I went to a new eye doctor, and the Bishop Arts, and the Bishop Arts is like a it's like a hip modern part of Dallas and Oak Cliff. In this optic place is just called Optical. So that's just all it's called. So they're just trying to be cool.
Creativity in this neighborhood is astounding.
Well, they're trying to be hipster and stuff, but I was like, let me try this place out. It's more updated. It's not like back in the 50s. Maybe they have some new technology. And as a matter of fact, they do. For a little bit extra, which for me is nothing. It's I would do it any day.
Yeah.
For a little bit extra, you skip every single step that I ever had to do before.
Yeah.
Of having to look through these machines and do stuff. And you do have to look through a machine. It's only one machine, but there is no air puff or anything. You go in, and basically this machine takes like a 3D picture of your eyeball.
Ooh.
So you look in there. The little like maybe like a scanner. It just goes by. This green light goes by real quick. No. You do each eye, and then you're done. And then you go to the doctor, and he has this picture of your eyeball on the screen of each one, and he's like, he can tell by the picture of the eyeball how your eye is doing, if it's good or not. And then they simulate. I guess now they can simulate the whatever it was with the dilation, and figure out and do the little 1 or 2 better. And now this guy is not even, before the eye doctor would come up to me and like flicker herself, and this guy's just doing it from his computer, 1 or 2. And the thing is doing it by itself. So technology is definitely advanced. Nice. And I feel like that's going to be the standard now going forward for everybody. For every eye doctor, it's just going to be doing stuff. So no one will really ever know the struggle of what it was like to go to the eye doctor.
You bringing up the doctor reminded me of one of the pivotal moments in our college career together, was, and you also brought up football, so it reminded me of it.
Oh yes.
One time, Isai and I during our senior year were often we would throw a football around and play catch. Very casual. I'm a little competitive, but it was still pretty casual.
Yeah.
And during one unfortunate throw, Isai's pinky did it break or it definitely
It got
dislocated?
so my pinky got dislocated. And to provide some background, this was like at the very start of our senior year, maybe a few weeks in.
Yeah.
A few weeks in, and we were probably like 5 minutes into playing football here, like just throwing the ball back and forth at each other.
Yeah.
And I just put my fingers wrong. I placed it wrong. And for people who don't know, Mariel also has an arm. He can throw the football, but he has a pitcher's arm, so he throws it hard and fast. But a
Yeah.
lot of times it goes not 100% where you want it to go to.
Allegedly.
And that's just because of how fast the sucker is going. And so he threw it fast, and I was prepared for this, but I just was not prepared at this moment. I don't know what I just put my hands in the wrong place, and basically it nicked my pinky just well enough to dislocate it. Now it did. It looked broken. It looked messed up.
Well, I remember when it first happened, and you're like, in The Simpsons or no, in Family Guy
Yeah,
when Peter's like, like I remember when you're actually feeling it, and then I'm walking over to you because it's a pretty common thing for someone to jam their finger playing catch,
yeah,
and I'm over
exactly.
here like, can you move it? Like move it around. And this is as I'm walking towards you, and then I'm like, let me see, and his finger, and I'm trying to see if it's swollen or anything, or if it's purple, and all I see is your pinky just pointing in a completely different direction.
Yeah, and maybe I'll be able to post it for everybody to see.
Oh,
It'll
please.
probably be on Instagram. Like, do you graphic photo? Do you want to see? And you guys can choose
Yeah.
not if you want to see or not. But I used that as my Venmo background for the longest time for like
Yeah.
my if I wanted to pay money to people. But yeah, I remember that was so funny because you were just telling me to move around. I was like, I don't think I can, and I was trying to act like everything was normal, but the pinky was definitely messed up,
Yeah.
and it was not where it was supposed to be at. And it doesn't help my fingers. I'm double jointed, so I think that was part of the problem is that if I bend my finger a certain way, like the double joint kicks in, and so it's already in a place it's not supposed to be in.
Right.
Technically,
Right.
it's already shifted bones,
Yeah.
and it's not supposed to be in that spot. And so that I think my pinky flipped the spot, and it just boom, it got hit. And so I
Right.
think it's funny because we had to go to the
Urgent care.
urgent care, and we didn't know what to do. And I think we
Who
went to
drove us
DP.
there? I don't even remember
We
who
went
drove
to
us
we
there.
went to DPS, which is our on school like police, and we didn't know what to do. And so they drove me. They drove us. Remember, it was me and you. We went to the. They dropped us off at urgent care.
Yeah.
We got
Middle of nowhere.
middle of nowhere. People were like, "There's someone in there." I feel like the start of COVID was happening there because I could hear in the person's coughing. Like things were going on in that urgent care that they needed to be
Yeah.
in ER. I don't know what they were doing at the urgent care, but
Yeah.
anyways, we're here at the urgent care, and I thought it was funny. And I will say that the pinky was bad, but the worst part of that, the worst pain was the shot to numb my finger with because they had to pop it back in place basically. And because they took X-rays of it, and they're just like, let's look at it, and they're like, yeah, we think we can pop it back into the where it needs to be. But they're like, it's gonna be so super painful, so we have to numb it up.
Yeah.
And so they got these shots and to numb it. And I told the lady I wanted to see it, I wanted to look, and she would not listen to me. She kept trying to cover it up, and it made me so angry because I'm trying to look at it. I want to see it happen. I don't want you to be like that 1-2 and then put it on 2. Like I need to see it happening. And it felt like knives were chopping my finger off. Like it was burning and it hurt so badly. This
Yeah.
shot,
I,
and I
I remember
remember
you walking out of there and only talking about the shot.
yes, because the finger was fine. Honestly, the pain wasn't that bad when it was just broken or when it was just
Yeah.
dislocated. But this shot was so bad, and there had to be another shot. I remember telling I can't do it. I was like, I cannot do another shot. Like I'd rather feel the pain. I remember telling her that, and I don't think we proceeded with the second shot.
Yeah.
And she went ahead and started yanking on my pinky and just like trying to pull it out, and she put it back in place allegedly.
Yeah.
And then they gave me this like little splint to put on there, and that was that because and they gave me the CD. I got the CD of my X-rays. I still have it.
Oh, I want to see those. But I remember sitting there. We were there for a long time. We were there for a long time. I remember being
Yeah,
there. I remember sitting there thinking, "This is just a dislocated pinky. What's going on?"
yeah, it was a long time just to even get anything like done.
Yeah,
And but yeah, they gave me this little splint. Now my pinky's all right. I don't trust it 100%. Obviously it's not at 100%. It
yeah.
did develop a little bit more of a growth on the bone. It's a little
Ugh.
bit heavier than my other pinky. And that's just and I remember like looking it up, and they're like that you need to one, you needed to keep in the splint, but another thing was like you had to like exercise it regularly, but it hurt so
Mm,
bad. I
yeah.
remember I'd be in my room trying to like manually bend in stuff, and then I lost the splint, I think, so it was just kind of stuck, and so I think that's why it kind of hardened up a little bit in whatever spot that I had it in. Um, but yeah, I think that was funny. Um,
Yeah.
but like I just I don't like going to doctors, and for reasons like that, I don't think I've had good experiences.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but
let me tell you about a bad experience at a doctor, man. So some people know this, but in high school I caught appendicitis.
ooh, you had
Um,
appendicitis?
yeah, I had appendicitis, and it's pretty common, but people don't
Yeah.
understand the severity of it potentially, right? So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, you could die.
yeah, so
100%.
appendicitis, for people who don't know, appendicitis is when your appendix gets inflamed, basically, and
It ruptures.
your appendix is like this useless little organ, like in the right side of your stomach, basically.
Yeah.
Um, and it could happen randomly, or if someone punches you in the stomach, it could cause it to inflame. So all I know is I was eating dinner, and all of a sudden my stomach hurt, and it hurt all night, and so my mom had to call an ambulance because it just
Yeah.
wouldn't stop hurting. So we go to the hospital, and I meet with the nurse at the front desk.
Yeah.
So this lady, hates being a nurse, probably hates her job. Like she's
Yeah.
like, I could be a doctor too, like
Yeah.
not giving me the time of day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, she's like, oh, do you want some ginger ale? She's giving me like these home remedies, like
Yeah.
oh, maybe some vapor rub on your stomach. Like, listen, lady, like this has been going on for hours.
Yeah.
And so I literally tell her like, I think based on my research, and I get it, patient research
Yeah. Yeah.
is if we went off a WebMD for everything, it would be like everything would be dramatic. So I get why she would be hesitant to listen to me, but I literally
Yeah.
said, I think I have appendicitis, and she said, oh no, if you had appendicitis, it would be a lot more serious. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
She is 30 seconds, Isai, from I kid you
Yeah.
not, from sending me home. And a doctor is passing by as I'm pleading my case
Yeah.
for appendicitis. And he goes, oh, you want to take a test? We can just give you a quick test for or like a CAT scan or whatever.
Yeah.
And we could see if you have appendicitis or not. And I was like, yes, please, let's do that. Um, we do the test, boom, pops out that that I have
Yeah.
appendicitis, obviously. And
That's
literally,
so
if I would
funny.
have went, so what happens with appendicitis is it gets inflamed, but it
It
gets
gets
bigger and
big.
bigger. It's like a balloon, so it gets
Yeah.
bigger and bigger and bigger, full inflamed with bacteria in it, and
Yeah.
eventually it'll rupture, it'll explode your appendicitis and spread the bacteria throughout your body, and you'll die.
Exactly.
Basically, you
Yeah.
could
That's
die.
crazy.
So he literally was like, "Oh yeah, if you had hours, like you had a few hours left before this is like it was huge,"
Wow.
and I was
That's
like, "Oh my
crazy.
god."
That's crazy. Now, do you have any like a scar anywhere on your body, like to show where you like an appendicitis scar where they had to
Yeah,
go
I
in?
do have a scar. It wasn't I used to in high school I used to say it was a stab wound because it's
Yeah.
just a vertical line, but or a horizontal line.
Yeah.
Um, but it's weird. It's on the opposite side of where the appendix is because again,
Yeah.
technology. I guess they inserted like a camera and
And they
like a
were able to
very
go in
thin.
there like microscopically and take it
Yeah,
out. Yeah,
yeah. So
my
they did it away from that side, but yeah, I have a
yeah,
small little knife wound.
my dad, Psycho John, I guess I mean no, like he had appendicitis too. That was the first my dad looks like he got bitten by a shark multiple times. Um because
This
he
is
has
before the microscopic.
yes, this is before that type of technology happened. And I think he was being a hogger, and he would like eating all these tacos that morning. He was like a kid, and he eating like all these tacos that morning. And my dad was a soccer player, right, when he was younger, so he was used to
Mm,
eating like a lot and just like being super thin because he all the running and stuff.
yeah,
And I think he was like before school's gonna start, and I think he went like did like stretches and all this stuff, and after eating
yeah.
this food, and he stretched too far, and
Oh no.
his stomach started hurting. It started hurting really bad. It's almost similar story to you,
Yeah.
and they had to take him to the hospital because um what had happened was his intestines had twisted, or they turned, something happened internally with his intestines, that they were like twisted up, or something happened like that,
Yeah.
right? Which was causing him pain. But in the process of that happening, triggered his appendix to rupture.
Jesus Christ.
So he had a double whammy. So they had to go in there, and so my dad has a cut from one side of his stomach all the way down to the other side of the stomach,
Oh
and
my
they had to
God.
slice him all the way open to fix the intestines and take out the appendix.
Oh my
And
God.
then my dad got sick uh, back when I was in high school, and he was in the hospital for a while there. And my dad's always getting sick. He was always getting sick with like pneumonia, like a bunch of like just anything.
Some
He's always,
serious conditions, dude.
yeah, like he was always in the hospital going through some stuff.
Oh
And
no.
this time he was in the hospital, and they had to take out his spleen of all organs. My dad's missing a spleen. Psycho Jon is missing a spleen. If
What?
you're wondering. But they had to take out his spleen, and so they tried it with the little like tools to go in there, and so they made small like little
I
incisions.
don't even know where is your spleen. I don't even know where that is.
Honestly,
Is that like behind your stomach?
I don't know, because they, like you said, they put the cuts in different places to go in
Yeah.
there to go in there and take it out.
Yeah.
But he has like three smaller cuts from when they try to go in there and do that stuff. And then after the third time going in different spots, they said, we can't get it. So they done cut him up 3 different times, and they said,
We
you know
can't
what,
get it.
we gotta cut him up again to go in there and take it out.
They're like, we've
So-
given you too much amnesia for this.
Exactly. So he has one cut going from one side of the stomach to the other, from the from the appendix and the other stuff.
Yeah.
And then they couldn't open up that same cut. And I forgot what the reasoning why for what that is. Maybe someone who knows more about those things can explain to us why you can't reopen a cut that they had. But they had to make another incision from one side to the other to go in there and take out his spleen. So my dad's just all cut up. It just looks like he was in Jaws, and he got bit by the shark, and
Yeah.
it's crazy. But
That's rough.
yeah, I think it's crazy that I didn't know you had appendicitis.
Oh
So-
man, it was scary. I was that was my first time in surgery. That was my first time in like a
Yeah.
serious hospital thing, and I legit was like, well, mate, it's more than a stomach ache, and I had no idea what appendix or appendicitis was. So
Yeah.
I knew that it was more serious than a stomach ache, and to me, it was random. So
Yeah.
obviously, growing up in a Latino household, the first thing that comes to mind is, oh, Jesus, I'm going away.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I knew I shouldn't be eating that salmon tonight. Mom, I'm gonna miss you. I'm crying in the bed. Then here comes
Yeah.
this doctor, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you were right. Thank God you ain't go home." I'm like, it's like really casually.
Yeah. I honestly, I think it's crazy. No one ever talks about how serious like appendicitis or getting your appendix, because so many people
Yeah.
talk about how they survive, but like only because people are having to like you who plead their case that they have appendicitis.
It's like a ticking time bomb. It's like if you
because
just like if you
with
just- if you
stomach
just
pain
go
is
home.
stomach pain is easily dismissed all the time.
Right.
People always just like what the nurse said, like try to give you some ginger ale or like give you something like no, you can honestly die from that.
Yeah.
And I think I think that's kind of funny.
Well, imagine if you're like imagine it's a timing thing, right? So imagine if you're like in
Yeah.
Kansas or in Dallas in this case, and you have to like drive like 10 hours to the closest hospital. Like imagine the people that probably don't even make it.
Honestly, and you know what? Honestly, I feel like I don't know what I would do if I was in a public situation. I actually get scared about things like that my body's gonna act up on me in a public situation, because I don't know if I'd be like
You're
not
gonna act
embarrassed
cool?
enough.
You're gonna
to
act cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be not embarrassed enough to like call an ambulance to take me. And I think about this all the time, like when I'm in the shower too.
What are you gonna do? Limp your way to like
shower thoughts?
rally?
I don't know. I think about this all the time. I'm like, I try to tell myself like, you better not act up, because I get scared, because I'm like, if I'm out here in public or I'm out somewhere where like, what am I gonna do? Like, I have to call somebody to help me out.
You say
like-
help.
Yeah, but that part, like knowing that, I feel like it's gonna embarrass me to just ask for help. That I'm gonna, and here's the deal: I'm gonna get like, and for people, I guess before we go too long, I'm just gonna explain like I've been sick before, and I don't
Yeah.
tell people, because I don't like the feeling of having to like ask for help or ask people to take care of me or do anything for me, and so that's part of the reason like I don't go to doctors. Whenever I get sick, my mom's like, go to a doctor. I'm like, I know I can take care of it myself, and I go to like the dark corner and I just like go to sleep, or I just try to let my body figure it out on its own. And
Drink a bottle of ZQL.
and exactly, that's all you need is a bottle of NyQuil and you're good to go. But yeah, I feel like I just would not if I was like really like feeling bad, like my stomach hurt, I would
Yeah.
probably try to get myself anywhere I needed to get with it hurting.
Dude, well now take my story as a note of
I know.
caution. If it's stomach related, go ask for help.
Yeah, and I feel like if it is, I don't know. One time I did, I guess, and this will be the last story before we end it. I did have my stomach hurt one time, and that was from salmonella poisoning.
Oh,
And that was from I want to say a jar, or I don't know if that's what you call it, a jar of Peter Pan peanut butter.
throwing out brand names now.
That I had when I was younger, and this was like right like a day after I ate this peanut butter. They had said like released a recall on all these jars of peanut butter saying that they were infected with salmonella.
I thought salmonella was. Oh no, maybe that's something else. I was gonna. Isn't that pork? Like, what's salmonella in?
No, salmonella you can get. It's just a bacteria, and it
Okay.
comes from stuff like that. But if the peanuts or wherever they're located was in the same area where like runoff from
Yeah.
like pork or like pigs or cows or anything, like you can get
Yeah.
that. It's a bacteria, and so
Right.
basically that was the worst pain ever. In my stomach pain, I remember freaking out. But yeah,
Well, the moral of our story, folks, is go to the doctor. Don't be like
yeah.
Esai.
The takeaway is to not be embarrassed, because is it worth your life? For me, I still have to still think about that. But for you, I can probably tell you, go to the doctor.
Yeah,
And,
I'd be there.
and get it figured out, because you don't want to die, but you also don't, and you don't have to worry about now about looking like Psycho Jon, all cut up, because
Exactly.
technology is advanced. So go to the doctor, go get checked,
There it is.
and learn from our wisdom. And remember, though, we're just talking.
Right. That's all.
Yeah. So it was good talking to you, and we'll come back next week.
Hey man, thanks
All right.
everybody for listening.
Thanks,
You
everybody.
are
Bye.
the donkey of the day. You are